You're watching the 2024 SCAC Fall Media Days. Today, we're taking a look at the Southwestern University men's soccer program. The Pirates will once again be led as they head into the season under the guidance of head coach Dustin Norman, along with leadership from senior midfielder Michael Grimm. Coach, Michael, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Coach, we'll open up with you heading into year 7 as the head coach of this program. I'm interested in what you've seen as some of the biggest steps of growth with these groups over the years and your program. What are you most proud of that growth? And, ultimately just how excited to be back at the start of a new season.
Yeah, no, thanks again for having us. But, to answer your question, to be quite blunt, just thoroughly excited to get back out on the field, thoroughly excited to get the group and the ball rolling again. From the perspective as a program as a whole, realistically, what I'm most proud of is the consistency of our performances over the last several years. I feel like we've been building and just ensuring that, I think every program can kind of hang their hat on winning seasons, making conference tournament, pushing for competing for championships, and we're no different. So hopefully we can find that consistent form again early in the season and continue it. It'll be a really difficult conference run this year with the addition of several high achieving programs as well, only fitting 4 into the conference tournament, which is always in the back of every player and coach's mind, I think. But the consistency is what I'm very much most proud of, not necessarily just on the field, but off the field as well, being leaders in the classroom, in the community. But, the performances on the field have been spot on for the last few years, and hopefully we can continue that this season.
Michael, coming into your senior year, just sort of take me through the mood, the mindset of the guys thus far. How has preseason unfolded to this point? And, how excited are you just to be back with this group and getting ready to compete as you get ready to go into your senior year?
Yeah, the guys and I are absolutely buzzing. Like you mentioned, going into my senior year, it's my last shot at this, and just going into preseason, meeting the new freshmen, seeing some new faces, some older guys just stepping up in a leadership role and taking on the season. It's been great so far, and everybody's very excited, to continue throughout preseason and ultimately start the season in a few weeks.
Coach, last year at this time, we talked about one of the things you saw as a strength is the depth of this team. And even though you had a big senior class, that there are going to be a lot of guys filling in at a bunch of different roles. And so as those seniors move on, and you had that experience with some younger players, but they'll be stepping into sort of some new roles this season, especially on that leadership side. How do you help facilitate that as a coach? And where are you looking to as far as kind of finding that leadership now with that big group of seniors, graduating after last season?
Yeah, I think everyone in the locker room is aware of the difference in the makeup. We're certainly a little more youthful, bringing in over 10 new freshman faces. But when it comes down to it, I think the one thing that this program is blessed with and has been for the last few years is leadership all through the roster, from senior down to freshman. We're very fortunate going into this season. We've tried to be cognizant of the fact that we were going to graduate so many players last year that were so meaningful to the program. But in the meantime, in behind the scenes, we're working hard to try and bring some leadership pieces along that could help us facilitate bringing the younger players along. Michael Grimm is one of the captains this year and a part of the leadership group and has been for quite some time. Luca and Raghav are 2 guys that played heavy minutes for us over the last several seasons, and they're a big part of the leadership group. And we're also, even though we graduated a massive class of seniors, we actually returned quite a bit of experience, particularly on the back line and in the central midfield, which kind of gives you the base to work off of. And when you have that base to work off of, now it's just about supplementing the roster and, finding the right pieces. And through preseason, we feel like we're starting to take those steps in the right direction and seeing some younger players step up. But, really are still going to be able to rely on guys who have been on the field and played major minutes for us significantly, whether in the back or in the midfield, and then try and find our footing as we get into the season in the other areas.
Michael, individually, you've been an immediate impact since arriving at Georgetown. I think you started 46 of the 49 fixtures you've played in, a two-time first team All SCAC performer, outstanding to this point coming into your senior year. What is it that continues to drive and motivate you as a player? And what have you continued to work on individually to grow your confidence as a player coming into the season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the same thing that drives me is the same thing that drives the rest of the guys. The fact that we want to be, playing on Sunday at the end of the year and competing in that championship game for the conference and beyond. That's something that I've yet to do with this program, and something that continues to push me and drives me to work harder every day. Um, as far as continue to just improve, and the things that I've been working on the field is just all aspects of my game, really. I know set pieces are obviously a big part of our playing style and just the college game in general. So staying after, consistently getting extra reps, and then just working on my leadership as best I can, on the field, off the field, building those relationships early in preseason with the rest of the guys, and just, ultimately working together for our common goal, as well as just setting a good example and keeping the standard high, to really just leave my mark on this program and do the best I can to make a positive impact.
Coach, tell me a little about this group. For those who are getting to know this team as the season unfolds, what have you learned about this team early on in preseason as it's gotten started? How have the newcomers adjusted to your program, and what have you seen that's given you confidence about this team heading into the season?
I think the confidence comes from, as I touched on earlier, we have quite a few returners that kind of give us the base to work off of. Outside of that, coming into the season, the thing that I was really excited by was it was probably it does not make the difference at the end of the season, but certainly at the beginning of the season, getting off on the right foot. This is the fittest our group's ever come in. You could see it in their faces, the way they carried themselves, how excited they were. But just, when it comes down to simple data points, we were fitter from top to bottom. And, that allows us to kind of progress a little quicker into, some of the more in-depth pieces as far as what we want to touch on, working on the tactical side of the game and the shape and ability to cover the ground. When the ability to cover the ground isn't in question, it allows you to do some different things. You don't have to look towards managing player loads quite as significantly. So, we're able to push the envelope, and this group's responded well. The other thing that's been really exciting to see is just kind of the meld of the youth and the the old guard. They're matched 1-to-1 essentially in the locker room, but that's been a lot of fun. It kind of gives us some joking moments at times, from the perspective of the young guys. The young guys want to hang one on the old guys. So, it's made for some fun times so far in preseason, and we're looking forward to watching as that group really comes together. That's the most important piece, and to touch back on the leadership piece, bringing them along, and Michael Grimm and Luca and Raghav have done a great job of that, as well as all the upperclassmen, really trying to spend time together off the field. And as we hit towards the end of preseason and look forward to our first game on next Friday, it's we're progressing in the right ways. We're progressing in the right ways, and there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, but these guys are up for it, and they've really carried themselves in the right way, and we think we're heading in the right direction. So there's a lot to be excited about.
Michael, finally, as a senior, how do you want to see this season play out? When you've had conversations with some of the other leaders and peers within your group about the goals and expectations going into this year, what have those conversations looked like, and ultimately, what's going to be key in your mind to accomplishing those this season?
Yeah, obviously we're all here to win, and so as we touched on earlier, getting that ring senior year, competing for championships, playing on Sunday in November are things that are always in the back of our head and something that we're always working towards. As Coach Norman touched on, with the progress that we've made, not only this year in preseason but previous years, just continue to build off of what we've gained and what we've learned through different past experiences, and contributing that to our future success, as well as not only coming into season fit but maintaining that fitness and making sure we have, as many guys as we possibly can to compete for a title throughout the season. And just the recovery process and just staying healthy is so important. And usually the teams that have the most guys available at the end of the season have, the best chance to compete and have a realistic chance at doing something big and making history. So that's something that's really important, something that, we're already taking into consideration and focusing on throughout preseason, and just really, focusing on our recovery, eating right, sleeping right, hydrating right, super important, and something that will ultimately, help us get where we want to be in a couple months from now.
And finally, Coach, wrapping up with you, one of the great things about sports in our world is the measurements of success can come in so many different forms. And obviously we have results and statistics, but beyond kind of the lines of our field, there's so many metrics. So when you talk about success with your program and your student athletes, what's that message you try and deliver? And ultimately, this season looks successful if what plays out?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It's a difficult question and a long-winded answer. Probably deserving of a bit of context. The things that we talk about in our locker room quite a bit is, our focus is 1A education, 1B soccer, and 3 community. And, ultimately our guys are really committed to that. And, achieving excellence in all capacity or all areas is really what we're looking to do. This group embodies that. Certainly this upper class group, they've really leaned into all those areas, from our high achieving GPAs over the last 3 semesters of well over a 3.6, community service hours served. And then, when you look at it and boil it all down to the important things on the soccer side, is winning soccer games. And, really what our goals are and what our aspirations are is, as Grimm has spoken about, is to be playing on Sundays. And, we kind of talk about those on 2 ends. One, you have your ultimate goal, and 2, you have your process. And we got to focus on the process each and every day as far as improving. I've been really excited about the questions that I'm getting from the guys, the video they're watching, the time that they're spending getting into the office to try and learn a little bit more, especially this young group. They're hungry, and ultimately that'll help feed and push the envelope in those areas. But those are the things that we judge ourselves on. But ultimately, we don't hide from the fact that within our locker room, the expectation is that we take this program from good to great. And the only way to do that is to be playing for championships at the end of the season. And that's the expectation of ourselves. And as long as we expect that out of ourselves every single day, it kind of holds that standard, holds that expectation, and requires that we bring that energy each and every day to every training session and everything that we do. And it's been fun to see so far, but time will tell, and we'll continue to push. But those are our standards, and we're looking forward to living up to them.
Southwestern University head men's soccer coach Dustin Norman, along with leadership from senior midfielder Michael Grimm. Pirates will open up the 2024 campaign when they take on Methodist and Hendricks on the opening weekend, getting started on August 30th. Coach Michael, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as you head into the year.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.